Hi there, my name is Lauren, and I just wanted to share some practical ways on how to use the coronavirus report. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay, so hopefully you're now able to see my Adobe Workspace. So this report is created in Adobe Analytics. So if you have access to the link that we posted in Facebook Workplace and you click it, you should be directly taken into the report as long as you have Adobe Analytics access. If you do not have Adobe Analytics access, just reach out to us and we can add you. So I'm just accessing through another way through Adobe Workspace. If you click your workspace here in Adobe Analytics, you should see the report appear here too. So you can also access it this way. Click the link. So it might take a few seconds to load. There's a lot of data, but you'll be able to see the report once it loads. And there's just a couple things that I wanted to go over on how to edit this report. Just some practical things that you can do to be able to view your articles. So number one is looking at the report suite. You can see here that this report suite is running on the global report suite, which shows all of the relevant content in our ecosystem. Number two, here is the time period. So you can click this and modify the time period. If you want, you can just select the date that, say, your article launched and create your own time period, or pick a preset. We currently have it running on the last 30 days. There are also a couple of filters here, one for selecting a device and another for selecting an area of the world. So these are very low risk. You can play around with them. Just click the drop down and it will filter all of this data based on the filters that you select. And one thing to mention with the areas of the world is these are crew areas that we have created specifically for crew. So you can see name, packed, just the different areas that you're working in. Feel free to filter on those. A couple other things is these graphs are just running on the top 10 most popular articles or resources based on traffic. So if you don't see your articles appearing here, you can actually see the full list in a table because these graphs are all pulling off of tables. So how you would view that table is by clicking the lock here. If you hover, you'll see it says Manage Data Source. And you're going to want to check Show Content, Show Data Source. And when you check that, there is a table that'll appear. I think I just clicked it twice. There we go. So when I scroll down, I'll see this table. And these are all of the articles, not just the top 10. So you can see there are currently 39. We just added to this yesterday. So we're continually adding new resources here. And yeah, so this was a good way for you to be able to scroll and see, here's New Life Russia, Athletes in Action, some articles that might not be appearing in the graph. Another thing to mention with these tables is that you can actually sort the tables on different columns, a lot like Google Analytics. And how you can tell what column it's sorted on is wherever the arrow appears. So here we see this arrow. That means that our table is currently sorted on unique visitors spending at least 10 seconds on the page. And the reason we've sorted it on this column for the graph above is because this answers our question about engagement, our visitors engaging with content across our ecosystem. This is just looking at readership. But you can also sort on download link instances, activity map link instances, which is a fancy term Adobe uses for link clicks. So if your page has other links on it, you can see how many clicks people have taken. Email signups, these are coming from Adobe Campaign and bounce rate. So you can sort on any of these tables, and what will actually happen is, I'm just gonna sort on email signups here, is that will modify these graphs above. So now I am seeing, there we go, just takes a second. I'm seeing the top article, which is number 1 here, Hope for the Road Marked with Suffering on crew.org, has the most email signups currently. And I can see that trended over time. One thing to call out with the trending over time, and the reason that we like to use these graphs is because you can really see when the campaign launched or when that page was created and how it's doing over time. So if you launched a campaign, you can see if there's a sharp spike that day, and then if it evens out, it really shows that that page or article is getting a lot of traction. So sorting the table and seeing the different visualizations here is another way to kind of play with this data. Another thing that you can do, getting one level deeper, which some of you Adobe experts know, is breaking down the different pages here in the table. So we can break down any page by country, language, by marketing channel, the source of how traffic got to your page. And so I'll just briefly show how to do that. You're going to want to come over to this left sidebar and hover over the third icon called Components. And when you do that, you'll see this little pop out, and you can click it and it will stay here. And so I'm going to actually just search in this bar, countries, and I see this appears. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to drag this and hover over the page that I want. So in this case, I'll just do the top one, this crew.org page, and you know you're doing it correctly when you see the breakdown appear. That means, yes, I want to break it down. So I'm going to let go of that dimension, and it will filter that for me. Then I'm just going to close over here, click to close the components so I have more space on my report. So here we can see it's broken down this page by the countries people are coming from based on their IP address. So if I want to expand the number of rows, you can see this number 5 is blue because it's a link. So I just click it and I can select the number of rows. So here it'll pull in 10 rows for me, and I can actually resort. If I want to sort, say, based on unique visitors spending 10 seconds, I can resort here on this column, and it will show me that data. So I can see the US, Canada, and Kenya are some of the top countries people are coming from, with the majority in the US. So a few unique ways you can break down this data. I'll just show you language as well. So if I type in language up there, I'm going to get 2 language dimensions. You can use either or. One is the full language, and the second is the language abbreviation. So that's why there's 2. But they'll give you the same data. So I'm just gonna pull language over, and actually if I hover over countries, you can see it says replace, and that means that you're doing it right. So let it drop, and it's going to replace countries with the top languages based on browser language. Again, just to double check, it is now sorted on this column of our readership, and you can see the top languages people are viewing in is English. So if you want to remove these fully, like you want to remove the breakdown, you can click the header language, and if you hover, Adobe's full of mysterious hoverings, you can click to X out, and it will remove the breakdown from the table. And as you can see, none of the breakdowns will affect your table because it's locked. We've locked our selection. So I'm going to go back to sort this table on unique visitors spending 10 seconds to get the original data that we had. And one thing I want to show you in these tables is you can actually, out of these top 10 articles here, click these, interact with the graph itself to hide specific pieces of data. So say I want to hide the Every Student article, I want to hide the top 3 articles, crew.org and Quarantine Together, the family life article. Or yeah, say I wrote this coronavirus responding to fear with wisdom and faith, and I want to see how that's doing. So I'm going to remove all of the other articles, and I can just see the trend line for this article, for my article. So it's a little bit cleaner, and it's just something that you can play around with as you're looking at data. It will also modify your graph if one, like this family life article, if it's really spiked and it's kind of throwing off some of the data, if I remove that, I get a clearer picture of some of the other articles. So just a neat way to be able to see this. And like I said, we're updating all of this data on a daily basis as we hear about it. So please let us know if you've launched any new articles or resources. And I hope that this report helps you. You can see all the questions are in the title of the graph for what we're trying to, the questions that we're trying to answer. And yep, let us know if you have any other questions. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Bye.